Welcome, folks, back to Dominant Mets Nation. Oh boy, buckle up, because just when you thought the Mets had turned a corner after sweeping the Philadelphia Phillies and sending the Philadelphia Philly fans into panic mode, the Mets went out last night and honestly gave us a reality check. That painful 7-4 loss to the Marlins. Folks, trust me, this wasn't just about the bats. This was about sloppy, ugly, embarrassing defense. We're breaking down the collapse. We're going to break down Pete Alonso's milestone monster homer, Klay Holmes' struggles, and whether Jonah Tong can save this rotation. Don't blink, folks, because this one is loaded. And check out Pete Alonso's bomb first.
And Pete hits one deep to center field. Back goes Marcy to the warning track at the wall. It's out of here. Pete Alonso ties the game with his 30th home run of the season. Alonso in the howitzer, and the Mets get even 4-4.
That home run is a great example of what Steve and Pete were talking about. Making sure you stay on the fastball and make the adjustment.
All right. And by the end of this video, I'm asking you, was this just one bad night or the kind of loss that haunts a September playoff push? You tell me, folks. You tell me. Wow, folks. Talk about shooting yourself in the foot. I mean, that was what we saw this game by the New York Mets. Just a day. It was just a day ago where we felt like, wow, this team actually could go on that run, have a great postseason, and possibly contend for a World Series. And now, just a day later, just one day later, you're like, that team, no. And I mean, honestly, you got to break it down and we got to be realistic. I know there are some fans that, will kind of put this under the rug. But let's be honest, there were three critical, monumental errors that resulted in 5 earned runs. Unearned runs. This is what you cannot do in a postseason run. You can't do this. You have to play mistake free. And if you make a mistake, okay, you try to recover. You don't duplicate it over and over and over. I'm going to show you a play in the next couple minutes, and it may look like, oh, it wasn't that big of a play, but these are the type of plays you need to make when you are going for that postseason run. All right, folks, before we continue, before we actually get into some great stuff, I need you to hit that like button. If you're not yet subscribe. Right now, it's currently 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm making videos for you. So again, if you're not a subscriber, join the family. We would love to have you as part of Dominant Mets Nation. Okay, so back to reality, back to what happened. All right, so this was the most unearned runs in a game since April of 2024. I'm telling you, folks, you take 10 steps forward and then you take 20 steps backwards. You just can't have that. Third inning, misplay by Klay Holmes covering first base, a drop throw that gave Miami an advantage early on. And the seventh inning was a seventh inning from hell. I mean, from Alonso's misplay, a failed double play, huge. Nimmo's misfield, huge. The pass ball by Sanger, huge. And I'm just going to tell you and show you, this may look like a little play, but I'll let you see it and comment afterwards.
And he lines one into left field for a base hit. Oh, and it gets away from Nimmo. A little bobble. Here comes Marcy. Throw to the plate, not in time. And the Marlins have taken a 5-4 lead here in the 7th. That ball was hit so hard into left field that it ate up Brandon Nimmo.
You talk about hit hard. That's 115 miles an hour off the bat.
Okay, it was a 115-mile-per-hour bullet hit to left field. Was it hit hard? Yes, it was hit hard. But Nimmo's got a noodle. He's got a noodle, folks. I love Nimmo, but he's got a noodle. Can't afford to bobble anything. Anything. He's got to pick it up clean, two hands, bend down, secure the ball, throw it in as quick as possible because you got to keep that run to third base. You got and you saw the runner freeze because there was a chance Lindor could have came up with that line drive. So I know it's a little bobble. It may look like whoa, there were other plays, but you know what? These are the plays you need to make in a pennant race. And I just want to highlight this one. We're gonna show you more, but this is the one you need to make. You need to be clean. You need to play clean baseball. And that seventh inning, folks, that seventh inning was a joke. It plain and simple. It was a joke for a team that wants to compete for a World Series, for a team that just displayed such dominance against the Phillies. This is what happens. I mean, Alonso, too, bobbling a ground ball. Again, somebody might say it's little, but it's not. That could have resulted in 2 outs. Nimmo, you got to come up with that play. You saw it. Hayden Sanger, you're the backup catcher. You have to at least block the ball. You have to. You really do. So you know what? Those are plays that resulted in unearned runs. Not that Soto was great on the mound, but you know what? The defense has to make those plays. Bottom line. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you're feeling about this game a day after we all thought. I mean, my video last night was all joy, and now we have to see this crap. All right, folks, we're going to see probably the worst play of the game, in my opinion, in a couple moments. But, folks, I couldn't have been the only one that wanted to throw my TV. It was just so damn frustrating. So damn frustrating. This next play is going to be extremely frustrating. But, again, Klay Holmes, his line, 5 innings, 4 runs, only 2 earned. Doesn't sound terrible, right? But the eye test, quite honestly, told the truth. He could not finish innings. And his error covering first really summed it up out of sync, out of focus, folks. And we're going to look at that momentarily. But again, a guy like Klay Holmes, who has notoriously been having problems throwing too many pitches. I mean, you have an opportunity to help yourself, and you cannot even do that. Super, super egregious. And, oh my God.
I am off and running.
And here's a chopper to first. Alonso's got it, and Holmes can't field it. Here comes Hicks all the way from second, and the Marlins take a 3-2 lead. Well, it was not a very good throw at all by Pete Alonso at first. Holmes did everything that he could, but when it popped out of his glove, it got far enough away from Holmes, enabled Hicks that he could score all the way from second.
Okay, so that allowed the Marlins to take the lead. It was 2-2 in the third inning. You allowed Marlins 2 runs. It's fine. That's still a very feasible ball game. But you know what? It's just the way you're allowing the Marlins to score. I mean, these are runs the Marlins should not have on the board. The Mets should have won this game 4-2. I mean, the Mets should have won this game 4-2. Now, that play is extra egregious for so many reasons. Now, you heard on the broadcast them allude to the fact that Pete Alonso made a bad throw. Now, we've seen Pete have, I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know if he's got something wrong with his shoulder. We've seen Pete struggle with this play like nobody's business. I mean, this is probably one of the hardest plays that Pete's had to deal with all year long. Now, that play, regardless, went in the center of Holmes' glove, right? So he didn't have to jump. He didn't have to leap. He didn't have to dive. He just had to stretch. That's all he had to do. Stretch, hit him dead center in the glove. That is a ball Klay Holmes has to catch every day of the week. Every day. And did Pete hit him running in stride? I mean, perfectly? No. But you're moving. You're hitting a moving target. That's not the easiest. You let Pete Alonso let him a bit. I think it was fine. It was fine to throw. It hit him in the center of the glove. There's no excuse for that. No excuse. Help yourself, Klay Holmes. And you know what that takes, folks? That is a focus play. Focus, focus, focus. And that's a play that you practice hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times throughout the year. And there's just no excuse. There is no excuse for that play to ever, ever happen, folks. So, oh Jesus. I wish I could be playing highlights. I wish I could be playing more of the Pete Alonso home runs from the top of the show, but it's just not good. And even like plays that didn't count for errors, like the play from Lindor in the first inning, it ended up being an infield hit, but Lindor could have made that play in the first inning. It's just very sloppy, very sloppy. Now, and you also ask yourself a question, right? Jonah Tong is coming. You have one of Nolan McLean, one of the most dominating pitchers in all of baseball. And I got a great video coming out about Nolan pretty soon. You're going to want to be subscribed for that. And, it really kind of talks about this kid's value early on. Just ponder this one question. Ponder this one question. How many people in MLB baseball would you trade Nolan McLean for at this point? How many people? I was. It's going to be a fun video, so stay tuned for that. All right. So Holmes fielding era. I mean, you got a guy right now who is really shown that he can't go deep in games. You got a guy who's really shown at points that he is gassed. And again, making mistakes like that isn't helping. In fact, if all goes well, if you get Tong and he's good, and you got McLean in there and Peterson's, that's your top three, and Senga starts to do stuff that Senga does, and McGill comes back, and obviously you have Manaya. I mean, is this guy going to be an odd man out? I mean, if you don't make plays like that, you're going to find yourselves on the outs looking in, going to the bullpen, possibly. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Should he be starting, or should he be a serious candidate for the bullpen? Jeez. All right, folks. All right, let's bring up some bright spots, because there were some bright spots, and let's give credit where credit is due. We got to do that because honestly, I need it for my sanity. Pete Alonso, what more could you say? His 30th of the season. That's 5 straight years with 30 plus home runs. Plus, another fact is he owns the Marlins. He completely owns the Marlins. So, you know what? I need something positive. Let's take one more look at that majestic shot.
And Pete hits one deep to center field. Back goes Marcy to the warning track at the wall. It's out of here. Pete Alonso ties the game with his 30th home run of the season. Alonso in the howitzer, and the Mets get even 4-4.
That home run is a great example of what Steve and Pete were talking about. Making sure you stay on the fastball and make the adjustment.
Folks, and not only that, that was a game-tying home run. I mean, Pete has done so much with runners in scoring position this year. He has been so valuable, such a breath of fresh air compared to last year. I mean, Pete, give him credit. I'm hoping that he signs some type of deal with the New York Mets. He's been just such a big veteran presence. You need veterans like that. Whether, we go with a youth movement, you need veterans perfect like the Polar Bear. So Polar Bear, congrats, 30th home run on the year. You've done it a bunch of times. Congrats. Okay, and another player that you just have to give so much credit to, it's just mind-boggling because of how much he struggled in June and July. And that's Francisco Lindor going 3 for 5 today. That's 6 3-hit games in just 14. He's really heating up at the perfect time. I mean, this is a great example. I'm going to show you a highlight real soon. But Lindor, in the last 7 games, he is batting 375. Last 15 games, 455. I mean, heating up at the right time, and that's what we need Francisco Lindor down the stretch. I believe he had his batting average down to 240 at one point a couple weeks ago. His batting average is literally up to 270. 270. So, I mean, 30 points in literally 3 weeks. That is insane, folks. Insane. So he's been heading at a torrid pace. So you know what? Let's hope that Francisco Lindor can continue this hot play.
And Ryan Hoeing to the Padres last summer. And Lindor golfs one into right center for a leadoff hit. Marcy over to cut it off. So Lindor, who came in hitting .431, gets a base hit on the.
Wow, see another sweet stroke by Lindor. I mean, that lefty stroke is a thing of beauty. When Lindor's balance is right, you see Lindor really, really doing some great things right now. I mean, it's just, you see the formula. You see the formula, about the pitching, but this is like kind of an anomaly game. I mean, the Mets haven't played this bad defensively, and that's why it's ultra frustrating for a guy like me and ultra frustrating for a lot of diehard fans who invest so much time in this team. So also, you want to give credit where credit's due. Kevin Hergert, 2.2 innings 2.2 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs. ERA for him is now 1.13. So he's also another bullpen weapon that you could use him. He could be a key down the stretch. He could be. All right, so that's the thing. This wasn't a helpless game. This offense had chances. The bullpen held up, but the defense handed the game to the Marlins. That's the bottom line. The defense handed the game to the Marlins. All right. So what does this loss mean? What does this loss mean, folks? Now the Mets are 5 games back in the NL East. And luckily, you had the Reds. They weren't playing, so that you still got that 4-game lead over the Cincinnati Reds. So, I mean, honestly, you don't want to give up any ground. So, anytime you lose a game that you should win, and every game, so we're 8 out of our last, I would say, out of our last 4 losses, 3 of them we should have won. 3 of them we should have won. So, I mean, really, we've been doing well. We've been doing a lot much better, but even the losses, 3 out of the last 4 losses going back to the last game with Atlanta, we should have won that game. We should have won tonight's game, and we should have won that one game against the Nationals that we lost. One of the games, the 2 out of the 2 losses was a blowout, but there was one close game as well. The Mets have to play better ball, more focused baseball. And it seems like, in my opinion, they focus when they are playing better competition. That's why I want to see the better competition, but the Mets at this point have to beat anybody who's on their schedule. That's the fact. You got to beat anybody. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to play better when the Phillies are in town, or I'm going to wait for the Padres or the Dodgers. No, you got to beat who's on your schedule. That's the deal. That is the deal, or else the wild card will continue to tighten. And, here's the thing now. Here's the thing. Jonah Tong is going to be making his deep debut, the young phenom. All right, now, folks, we are getting ready to see kind of like the Savior 2.0. I had a video a couple weeks ago, and I said, is Nolan McLean the Savior? And most people said, hey, you're putting too much pressure on this kid. But you know what, folks? This kid literally is the definition of the Savior. He saved our season, folks. Saved our season. Now, is Jonah Tong the Savior 2.0? Oh, I mean, this kid is nasty. So, you know what? Let's take a quick look at this kid's domination. Now imagine being 21, going to be 22 years old, stepping on a big league mound, knowing that Mets Nation, dominant Mets Nation, is counting on you. That's not pressure. That is a legacy opportunity. Just like Nolan McLean built, and I said it was historic when Nolan McLean came up. Mets history was made. Now Mets history is going to be made once again. Now, do you think a guy like Jonah Tong is ready or can carry this team in September? Or is it even fair? Is it fair to put so much pressure on these rookies? Comment below. I want your honest take. Do you need to see him? I said right away, I said Nolan McLean, based on what scouts say, based on his makeup, the kid was certainly above the rest and certainly special. I firmly believe this kid is going to be special as well. All right, now let's get rid of those highlights. Oh, Kyle Schwarber. Oh, folks, and this was comical. I had these highlights saved as well. Just a day after the Phillies leave, the Philadelphia crying Phillies, they leave and they freaking pummel a team that already gave up in the season, the Atlanta Braves. I mean, the Phillies went freaking nuts. They went nuts. But but that's also I could get on the Phillies for not stepping up against the Mets, but just like I can get on the Mets for not stepping up against the Marlins. I mean, kind of like the same thing. Oh, damn it. So again, here's the bottom line, folks. Here is the bottom line. The Mets didn't lose to the Marlins. They lost to themselves. They certainly lost to themselves. That is a game you should win every day of the week when you have that talent on that side of the field. That side of it. I mean, it's just no question. 3 errors, 5 earned on runs. 5 earned on runs. I mean, a defensive meltdown, as you saw in the 7th inning. You wasted Alonso's bomb. You wasted Lindor's big night. But tomorrow, folks, geez. All right, almost. Whoa! All right, you know what? I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that in the video. And I'm gonna continue. Try my best. I apologize about the little darkness, but I literally just knocked over a light. All right, come on. Let's get back to it. But tomorrow, Jonah Tong steps on the mound, folks. Jonah Tong steps on the mound, and we'll see if Jonah can flip the Mets script and really do what McLean did. Inspire everybody, inspire the team to be great, to be better than what they did. And that's why you want an ace. You want an ace to flip the script, to put a halt on losing. And that's why one of the reasons why the Mets are in such an advantageous position, even if you compare them to the Phillies. The Phillies lost the ace. They lost their stopper. And we saw Christopher Sanchez, who some said, hey, that could be their ace. He's not an ace, folks. He's far from an ace. In fact, Nolan McLean, who just came up and only pitched 3 games, I prefer him every day of the week over Christopher Sanchez. So let's see. Jonah Tong, can he do that similar thing? Can he do? Well, we see. And again, I'll say it again. It was just a sloppy game. It was one sloppy game. I'll leave it to you. Do you think it's a preview for bigger problems? You tell me. And also too, hit the like button if you're riding this player wave. Smash that subscribe button so you don't miss anything tomorrow. I'd love you to be here. Jonah Tong's performance. We're gonna break it down. Drop your prediction for his debut. I'll see you. We're gonna do a live stream. We're gonna have some fun. But again, I just want you to be here for everything. And again, I apologize for the lights. Everything went down. I used to have that on the wall, but everything kind of got messed up. So that's why I placed it. And geez. All right, let me go clean this. I will talk to everybody soon. And again, I apologize about the lighting situation. Why cut that stuff out? You might as well see stuff behind the cameras. All right, guys, let's go Mets. Let's go Jonah Tong. Who else? Francisco Lindor, keep it up. Pete Alonso, let's get 31. Juan Soto, let's get a 3-run homer or grand slam. More than, let's do something you haven't done. And let's see if we can have that big Juan Soto moment. I'm still waiting for the big Juan Soto moment. Tomorrow, possibly, support the young kid. Let's go. Let me say that. I mean, honestly, this is stuff I wanted to say for the live stream, but you know what? I'll share it with you right now. Actually, you know what? Let me fix this light. Let me fix this light. All right. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll be slightly better. It will be slightly better. All right. What I got to fix it after. Okay. So I just want to just make a comment. So the other things we got to fix, you got Ryan Helsley tipping pitchers. He's saying he knows he's tipping pitchers. Fix the damn issue in the bullpen section. Fix it on the side. I don't want him in a game unless he fixed this tipping situation. I don't want to hear he's aware of it. I don't want to hear he knows exactly what he's doing. All I want to hear is he fixed it. Or else this guy cannot be in any game of consequence until we're up by like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 runs. I don't know. Or he's got to be in a position where he just can't hurt us. All right, so the tipping pitchers, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Francisco Alvarez in a rehab game. He already has a torn ligament in his hand. And unfortunately, he gets hit by a pitch in his hand, and he breaks a pinky. The kid still wants to come back. He still wants to be with the Mets for the postseason run. It's just going to be a little delayed. But I'm just going to say this right now, folks. I'm just going to say this to the young kid. You're 23 years old. You've had an injury in the beginning of the year to your hamate bone, I believe it was. So you're having a lot of hand, wrist, finger injuries. Very pivotal for baseball players. Now you're dealing with multiple injuries to the hand. I want to see this kid. I love the fact that he wants to be here so damn bad. I just don't want him to ruin anything with his career. You listen to Dustin Pedroia, who had that injury and had decent success with playing with it. But he also said that the year following, he had some regrets and there were some, effects from playing with that injury. So I want him to keep that in mind too and kind of talk to the doctors and figure that out. Also, Baseball Trade Values is a site that tells you how much value, a player is when you trade them. So some people want to know how much value is Nolan McLean on that site. And, that site is kind of like, it's not as accurate. It's not accurate. I mean, like, you have Nolan McLean's value at 18.5. You have Tyler McGill's value at 19.5. So, I mean, would you honestly trade one straight up for another? Or in fact, Tyler McGill has more value. So, I mean, I had a question that was asked. So that's just a quick answer. All right, folks. Again, let's go Mets. I'm going to talk to everyone soon. Again, I apologize about the lighting situation. I got to fix this. But again, this is live action. Nothing's edited out. So I will speak to everybody soon. Let's go Mets. Let's take 2 out of 3. We still haven't, not 2 out of 3. We're playing 4. Let's take 3 out of 4. You know what I mean? I will talk to everybody soon. Have a great day, folks. Have a great night.